بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة بوجهه الكريم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I start with the name of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. I praise Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. I ask Allah to send countless blessings and salutations upon our master and leader and guide, Sayyiduna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his family, his companions, and all those who follow them in excellence into the day of judgment. And I ask Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala to grant us the sincere intentions. And I remind you of those sincere intentions that we intend to draw close to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, that we intend to obtain the reward of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We intend to receive and gain the acceptance of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the pleasure of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and ultimately we desire Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We want ma'rifatullah, the knowledge of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, divine realization, to actually become. And I return the greetings to all of you. Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. And I want to say before I have my brief reflections, this will not be long, that I greatly appreciate, or as my teacher would say, I highly appreciate every single one of you who have become my beloved ones. Those who I love a lot. And I miss you just as you say you miss me. Whenever we are not able to come together and gather and benefit from one another, I miss that too. So you're not the only one who's missing things. We all miss each other. And that is a good thing, that the love between us for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something so strong that when we're not engaging with one another, we miss one another. And so long as the hearts are connected, we're always together though. Remember that. So long as the hearts are together, we're always together. So whether we're actually interacting or not, keep our hearts together, right? Love one another for the sake of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and it will benefit us, inshallah, on the day of judgment. So I wanted to, as I usually do on Thursdays, or Wednesdays, is reflect on the previous night's, which was last night's Black Imams Roundtable. I always have some extra thoughts. And because it's three of us, I don't get everything I want to say out because we have to share the mic. and each one of us could do that program ourselves. Like we have enough to talk about that each of us ourselves could do that length of a program. And we do it on our own individual programs. Or should I say platforms. But one of the things that I touched on yesterday, and I wanted to build on it, because to me, I think it's crucial. It is us maintaining the methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And there are stages in that. And I want to say something about that. Before I get to that, let me say this. As you see roaming across your screen, it says Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah are al-Asha'ira wal-Maturidiyya. Could everyone copy and paste that? Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah are al-Asha'ira wal-Maturidiyya. My beloved ones, can you please copy that and put that up? If you are truly among a beloved one to me, and I am a beloved one to you, I need you to copy and paste that. Don't be like those people who let me down on the Eid. We with you, Imam, except when it comes that we got to follow you in the sighting of the moon. We down, we with you. But soon as you really need us to be down, we're going to abandon you. That hurts, I'll be honest. It does. You down into its sacrifice time, to it's time to stand up. That's where your down ends. MashaAllah. So, Al-Sunnati wal Jama'ah are Al-Asha'ira wal Maturidiyya. That's in the creed, right? That's in the creed. In terms of al-fiqh, Al-Sunnati wal Jama'ah are the Hanafis, the Malikis, the Shafis, and the Hanbalis. And then in the third aspect of at-tasawwuf, spirituality, Sufism, Ahl-Sunnah make up the various Sufi paths. That is being specific without mentioning the generality. Now, I want you to follow me on this. When I said Al-Sunnati wal Jama'ah are Al-Asha'ira wal Maturidiyya, I'm being specific and I'm not including the generality. Does everyone follow that? Is that point clear? Because understanding is extremely important if we're going to do something. You have to understand what we're doing. And if we're asking of you to follow a methodology, you have to understand the methodology. Right? So, okay. Bouchon, what are you saying no to? So what I was saying, that I'm making a specific statement that does include the generality. So in other words, when we say al-asha'ira wal-maturidiyya, when we say in Aqidah, when we say Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali, and Fiqh, right? That doesn't mean that we're saying everyone who's not like that is not Muslim. That doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that everyone who doesn't follow that methodology is wrong in everything. It doesn't mean that. It means that this methodology is the methodology that the majority of Muslims have been following from its development and formulation to today. And it is a path that is tried, tested, and proven. And it's became known as the standard bearer of the Muslim nation. That's what it meant. Is that clear? Right? Because sometimes when people hear that, they think you're being dogmatic or you're excluding someone. There's a specific thing, then there's the generality of the Muslim nation. We're talking about specifics right now. So when we say Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah or Al Asha'ira wal Maturidiyya. Now I'm going to have a real talk today. So I got to make it short, but it's going to be a real talk. And I'm only going to talk about this. Unfortunately, this is a reality. Even among Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, among the Asha'ira and Maturidiyya, you got groups of people, organizations inside that. I'm going to repeat. The generality now, I'm specific. Inside this specific is a generality as well. So you have the generality of the Muslim nation. Inside that generality, you have a specific methodology, al-Asha'ira Maturidiyya. And inside that, you have a generality. These are my words trying to explain a concept. I didn't get this from no one else. So it's my bid'ah of understanding, hoping from it you get the understanding, right? So I didn't learn this from no one else. I observed, I watch, I pay attention, I learn, and I saw the trend. You follow? Let me give you an example. Did y'all follow that? The general body of the Muslims in creed. What makes you a Muslim? All right, the specifics of the valid methodology and creed of the majority of the Muslim, al-Asha'ira al-Maturidiyya. Then inside that, there's general different groups of Muslims that are Ash'ari and Maturidi, but they got their own stuff. But they are Ash'ari and Maturidi, and based on their own stuff, they break into groups. Is that clear now? Is that much clear? Please let me know you follow me. I don't want to lose you because it's important. Then we bring it to America. You have those groups, and then that's a general. Then within those groups, you have a specific thing that relate to Black Muslims. That's another specifics inside another generality. So you have a generality, specific, generality within the specifics, and specifics within the generality. Why is it important to understand this? So you put everything in its context, right? So for instance, yesterday, we was at the prayer. Observe, So at the Eid, I talked about this last night. I'm speaking specific my community, what I observe in my area. Our communities are racially divided. It's like clear lines in the sand, racial division among the Muslims, right? Then within that, you have differences even among the people who believe the same. And they divide on those differences. They don't even cooperate. So that's why we have in our cities so many masjids. It's not like we got so many Muslims. We got so many people with so many ideas that can't unite or work together, even with the people who believe the same as them. They find a way to draw away from that. So you have, like, in a small area like this, 7, 8 masjids. For what? That's because of all these specific generals specific. That's why, right? So say at Jumu'ah, you see a mixed crowd, all different cultures. Then the Eid, you'll see the community divide along ethnic lines. Then for the 5 prayers, you'll see that ethnicity change. Like, it's funny if you watch. So yesterday, I asked the people who attend prayer regular time that didn't attend the Eid, but they attend Jumu'ah. I asked them about that. I said, let me ask you a question, not y'all. Serious, and don't give me no fluffy, fake Islamic answers. I want the truth, how you really know it. You know, if the people you see outside of here, don't say this masjid, if they could, it was in their ability, would they remove Black people from any form of leadership? They looked at me. I'm talking about real leadership, not token leadership, not employee, like you in charge. And they look, they're like, dang, Imam Amin, why you going there? Right? I said, I'm just asking you. We talking. We brothers. We love each other. We having a real talk. So one, it was hesitating. He knew what to say, but he was like, dang, this is a trap. This is not a trap. Just kick it. One of them, an elder, he said, absolutely. He said, absolutely. They will be gone. Absolutely. And then the other, he said, he wanted to clarify. He said, but everybody wants to do that because they want to be in charge. I said, that wasn't my question. That was not my question. You're trying to generalize a specific question. Don't generalize it. Answer the specific question as you believe it, as you observe it, because you only can have a belief off of something you observe, right? So they said, absolutely, yes. I said, make sure you work as hard as you can to never allow that to happen. You, not just me, you work as hard as you can to never let that happen, right? They was like, we got you, Imam. I said, it's not about getting me. I need you to realize that that's not Islam. And even if it becomes a norm, never make it a norm for yourself. With that being said, I'm going back to the Ash'ari Maturidi thing. So not everybody who's Ash'ari and Maturidi mean you're going to get along. So we have this specific creed that we all share that don't mean we all going to work together. Do y'all realize that? That's not enough. It should be, but it's not. And in order for us to be effective in what we're talking about, realigning our objectives, we got to be honest with ourselves. We got to be extremely honest with ourselves, even though we may not like what we see. But that's the only way you're going to change it. You got to be real, right? So what is that inside? Sometimes it's party politics. My organization, I want to be the main organization of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. So that is my objective. So yes, I'm Ash'ari, I'm Maturidi, I follow a madhab, I follow Tasawwuf, but I have this other thing also that I need a part of that. And if you don't, that, despite you being Ash'ari, despite you being Maturidi, despite you following a madhab in fiqh, despite all of that, you ain't in my group. This is killing us. But it's real. It's real. It can get worse to try to push you out of Islam altogether to eliminate you. It can get worse to try to push you out of Islam altogether, consider you kafir. And it's not about Ash'ari, Maturidi, it's not about the four madhabs, it's not about Tasawwuf, it's about my organization. And you have to be smart enough to see that. You have to be smart enough to say, wait. This is about something else, right? And for us, we have to recognize these things, number one, to protect ourselves from falling into it. And number two, to combat it. You have to combat it. You have to actively combat it. So we got to know the methodology. Then we got to realize the problems inside the methodology that prevents us from really living according to that methodology. Once we understand these things, then we can actively work to counteract them and to make the ideal community that we're talking about. And the cause of that, the cause that will help us get there, is we all have to learn well, right? You don't have to be a scholar, but you have to understand well. And the first step to that is learning and access to learning. We need to learn, but we need to have access to learning. And to access to learning is going to be dependent on your resources, unfortunately. That's the world we live in. You need resources to grant you access so you can learn. Do y'all follow that? You need resources to grant you access so that you can learn. If you don't have resources, you're not going to be given access, and therefore your learning is going to be limited. This is very important. We have to develop as that class among the Muslims, especially as African Americans in America, we're speaking about. We have to come together to build our resources base to grant us access so that we can learn. If you're out-resourced, that is going to be the main cause for you to stay in your position. I'm talking about the physical means. I'm not talking about spiritual side of it. I'm talking about just the outward physical manifestation of things. If you're out-resourced, you're done. So you have to learn to pool your resources. And remember last night, I was talking about making one sound Ahl Sunnah African American community throughout the country. We must do that. And we can't keep scattering our resources, whether they're financial, physical, educational, skills. We keep spreading them out to where none of us have enough resources to fight the battle. You got to look like we're in a battle. And you don't send your soldiers all over the place. You're not going to be able to defeat the enemy when the enemy have all their resources combined. Do you realize that? You have to think like this. If all of their resources are combined and they're functioning in all practical purpose as an enemy, even if they smile and say we're brothers, but if they're functioning as your enemy and they're taking away from your growth and development, then you have to realize that. Because they will grow and you will stay the same, and they would have used your resources to grow while leaving you behind. Do you realize this? This is serious stuff. And it would be nice that we don't have to have these conversations. But unfortunately, we do. Because no one really is putting the effort to change it. It's not enough. Let me ask you a question. And I'm working on this. We got some stuff we're working on that's going to come out. Inshallah, pray that we have success. That's really going to help us understand this. I was talking to the two imams yesterday, Imam Naim and Imam Fahim, after the roundtable. And we were talking about an individual, several individuals, that we're trying to talk with, like have real conversation. Go beyond the divide and let's just talk, like real talk between us as specific African American Muslims and what we're facing in this country. And those people we're talking about are elders. And most of our elders are dying, that have been in the struggle for 40, 50 years, 60 years. They're dying. They're getting old. I listened to one, don't put his name if you're thinking. Let me say this. Unless you got kashf, you know what kashf is? That's unveiling. It's a special gift, a karama for the awliya. Please don't try to read my mind. Please don't, because my mind goes all over the place. You're probably wrong most of the time, right? If I don't say it, don't assume it. What I need to say, you've been around me enough, I'll say it, right? And if I don't say it, it's a reason why I'm not saying it. So don't guess for me. Don't say, I know what he's talking about. No, you don't. You think you know what I'm talking about, right? Even if it sounds similar, doesn't necessarily mean I'm talking about you or I'm talking about who you think I'm talking about. And oftentimes, I speak specific about something general to narrow it. I'm not talking about somebody particular sometimes. I'm speaking about a general thing, but I'll say it in specific terms. So you be wrong a lot. Don't do that. With that being said, so don't put nobody's name up who you think I'm talking about, right? But the elders, and all of them, most of them, should I say, after all the years of service, are struggling. They're in the equivalent of the Islamic nursing home. Don't steal that, I coined that, right? They're in the equivalent of the Islamic nursing home after years of service to our community. You follow what I mean? That's criminal. I don't care what minhaj they're on. That's wrong. That we're not taking care of our people. That our imams and teachers serve us for years and we just put them in hospice or the nursing home and just leave them. Is that really fair? I'm going to ask you. A guy been teaching for 30 years, 40 years, imam, serving. Forget the minhaj. We ain't talking about that. He's still been serving us in some form. Forget his aqidah, forget all that. He's been serving us in a capacity. And we just say, yeah, go die. I seen it. And I named some when we was talking privately. Is that cool? Think about that. Think about that. That's something that's specific that we got to fix. And I wanted to talk to them, but you got to have a real conversation. Like, how did that happen to you? And I heard one explain it. He was like, I never thought about money. I never thought about tomorrow. And here I am today in this situation. And no one cares. I think that's a story that needs to be. There's a boxer, right? I knew this boxer very well. He was famous. And towards the end of his life, it was just struggle. I was like, man, what happened? He's like, they used me and threw me away. That's what we do to our imams and sheikhs in our communities. Not every single one of them, but the vast majority. I've seen it all around the country. That's why on this, and let me plug it now because this is important. I'll forget. That's why on this upcoming summit, and I hope you would register and come and support it because it's important. That's why for this conference, that's coming up, you'll notice up there on this flyer, there are old elders the first four are elders, that each of them been around since the late 60s, early 70s, right? They've seen this trend that I'm talking about. They lived it. And it's so important, if we're going to make a change, that we communicate and talk with and have real dialogue with those who tread the path before us. Because listen, you're not going to get these opportunities much more. When a person in our community is over 70, they ain't got long. May Allah give them long lives. But in reality, over 70, you ain't got that long. Just by the nature of our lives, right? Illnesses start kicking in, especially when you've been doing this type of work for that long. Or every day after you get that, every day is a complete blessing. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, every day is a complete blessing. Every day you get. And so I really, really, really want us to have the opportunity to really, really engage and talk. Not just hear lectures. Yeah, we're going to have some lectures, important topics, but really engagement, interaction, heart-to-heart talks that really mean something. Not groupies, oh, mashallah, here's the imam, the shit. No, that stuff. Like people. Like really, I want you to win. That type of conversation, heart to heart. And we no airs, right? And when I think about that, that's going to be another line towards the correct creed. After we have that, we still have work to do. We still have work that's specific to us, so what we learn can be impactful in our lives, right? It's very important. It's very important. And I'm looking for among us some who really understand what we're talking about. I understand the entertainment part. It's nice, but I'm talking about you really serious. You really serious about actually developing our communities to something that is sound and sustainable, right? Someone asked me, they said, Imam, what about when you retire? I said, you mean when I die? He looked at me like, what? I said, you mean when I die? I said, we don't retire. We die. That's our retirement. And they was looking at me like, I said, we don't retire, we die. Allah told us in the Quran, وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينُ. Worship your Lord to death come. We in it for life. This is it. There's nothing else. Whatever else we do is for this. We don't do anything else. This is our life. So if you see us engaged in something else, that something else is to do this. We don't do anything else. Nothing else. This is our life. For us, there is no life except the life in working for the deen. There is no life. There is no life except the life of working for deen. That's how it's going down. And we need as many of us who are committed to that. We need those kind of people. And you have to ask yourself, are you those kind of people? Are you those kind of people? Because that's what it's going to take to have a real 3453 family. That's what it's going to take to have real sustainable Ahl Sunnah communities amongst us. That's what it's going to take. A level of sacrifice that requires all of you, everything, right? It's the reality of implementing the Quran. One of my favorite verses in the Quran, for me personally, that is really like my motto from the Quran. Allah mentions, إنما المؤمنون الذين آمنوا بالله ورسوله ثم لم يرتابوا وجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم في سبيل الله أولئك هم الصادقون. That verse to me, it's like, what Allah say? The only believers, in other words, the real true believers, are those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger and thereafter never doubt. They struggle with their wealth and their persons in the path of Allah. These are the truly sincere, truthful servants. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Ajib. Let me find the surah for you. Sorry, my name ain't Sheikh Abdul Aziz or Sheikh Abdul Rahman or Sheikh Abdullah. My name is poor Amin Muhammad, and I'm old, and my memory don't serve me like that. Did you like that shout out, Mom? I'll find it for you real quick. Surah Hujurat, verse 15. All right? Surah Hujurat, verse 15. Surah Hujurat, verse 15. That is Surah Allah. Surah 49, verse 15. Say, you not old. Tell that to my toe. I tell you, say, you're not old. I said, tell that to my toe. I was, the day before yesterday, I told y'all this story. Just side little laughs. So my son, 4 years old, this guy, it's time getting him ready for karate. So I got to put on his clothes, and he likes to play. And so I'm trying to put on his uniform, get him ready to take him to karate. And he runs. And he hits the steps, and I'm trying to catch him. He's gone. And I take one step, right down the steps. And he's laughing and going. And I'm sitting at the bottom of the steps, holding my feet, like, oh man. And I'm like, what I'm going to do when this guy's a teenager? It took me a minute to get myself together, and my feet still hurt. Getting old. Subhanallah. So that's physically and mentally too. You know, I'm getting to that point where you start saying, I forgot more than you know, right? Right? You get to the age, I forgot more than you know. You get into that age. May Allah give us long lives and plenty of stuff in our mind to help us, inshallah ta'ala, preserve. But anyway, that verse to me is so important. Surah 49:15. You should go back and reflect on it, right? 49, verse 15. That verse, you know, Allah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Do they not ponder and reflect on the Quran, or their hearts locked, right? You should take that verse and reflect on it. إنما المؤمنون الذين آمنوا بالله ورسوله ثم لم يرتابوا وجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم في سبيل الله أولئك هم الصادقون. Yes. The real believers, those who believe in Allah and His Messenger and never doubt, and they struggle with their wealth and their persons in the path of Allah. These are the true, sincere servants of Allah. Right? And when I look at the round table, I hear a little beneficial criticism. I don't see those kind of people. Not enough of them. Right? I see a lot of claims. And I'll be honest with us. I see claims. I wish we all live close together. Like Imam Naim was talking about this virtual reality. It's nice, but you're not really tested. You are, you just don't realize how tested you are. But when we face to face, when we actually on the ground, you're going to separate the men from the boys and the women from the girls. When you really got to work and you on it, you have to do it. But it ain't just a bunch of talk. You can't give $20 when we know you got 100. Hint, hint, hint. Right? You can't give $20 when we know you got 100. And I'm speaking in general specifically. And I'm speaking in general specifically. And keep yourself in that mode. You know, they say you throw out in the, they say, you throw it out. It's a saying. You throw it out, and the one who hollered, the one got hit. Right? Oh my goodness. Y'all kill me. Oh, I don't believe in that. Oh, I saw something since you want to talk about Starbucks. Apple, they said, I forget where I saw it, are giving matching donations to the Israel Defense Fund or whatever. I don't know about all that stuff, right? Are you going to give up your iPads and iPhones and computers and all that? Are you going to do that? We got to get rid of all this stuff. Mac Pros, all that, gone. And then while we at it, let's get rid of some more stuff. And I don't want to go there because some of you probably have me back in the feds if I be honest with you, right? So I'm not going to go there. But are you really serious or are you just talking? Are you really serious or are you talking? And ultimately, are you going to give up most of the things you enjoy in the West? And Hajj and Umrah and all of the things that support people who support people who support people. Are you really serious? No, you're just talking. That's what I thought. Leave me the hell alone with that. Because ultimately, what you need to do, ain't none of us prepared to do. You're not really trying to buck. You're just talking. Yeah. Man, leave me alone with that. I'm one of those guys that tell you about yourself. I'm not the one. Nor am I are you able to peer pressure me. I'm not that kind of person. Because if you want to talk about, don't get me started. Please don't get me started. You know I get triggered quick. Don't get me started. Why don't you do all that fighting for the black community? All that protesting. I don't see you doing that. Do you really want me to get started? Seriously? Do you really want me to get started? No, I don't think so. All right, leave me alone. Let me enjoy my coffee and leave me alone. I will get started. You ain't gonna like me when I finish. I'm gonna hurt all your sensitivities. Stop. Right. All right. Now I like this argument. Really, I have it a lot when we talk because it's selective outrage, as someone mentioned. But I have a big, whole different outrage when it comes to that, and it hurts. But because some people don't feel it, and we don't count, it don't matter. But we matter, and it count. You know, all I gotta do is walk through a neighborhood, and I see the neglect. All you gotta do is visit a prison, and that same one people's voting for is the same one that put millions of my people behind walls. Millions in over the last few decades and destroyed generations of my people. And they don't have no land to call home. They don't have no governments. They don't have no international outcry, nothing. And even their brothers in faith don't care about them enough. Don't get me started with that. Serious. Serious. You walk through any community in the inner city and see the state and watch those same people who are our people go and protest and fight for, ignore them. Ignore them completely. And then tell me we brothers. Man, you don't get away from me with that. Seriously. That one thing, because that is totally the opposite of everything we claim. The opposite. Even the worship, you make it so high that our people will never even fulfill the arkan of the deen because of your business practices. Do you hear what I said? Because of your business practices, your love for the dunya, Our people, most of them will never fulfill the requisites of the religion, the arkan, just so you can make money. And you don't care. And no one is outraged about it. Not one person. They, in fact, having groups going multiple times to go to Umrah, to Hajj. I've been to Hajj 20 times. I've been to Umrah 50 times. We made this. We got a package. We got this. What about all these Muslims who can't afford with these big bills? Why don't you give them some money so they can go and do that? Don't think Allah is that unjust. And he's not. You unjust. But you want to talk about coffee? Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. So I think I've distracted. I've went left. But that really, because we will make that case. We would really try to argue that. You're supporting, huh? Really? Oh my goodness. Okay, that was a distraction. And any black person or any real Muslim who has a heart, will know exactly what I'm saying. And I would debate this with anyone. I would debate this with anyone live. Straight up, we can have this debate. And I'll rip you to shreds. No doubt about it. Because either you don't care or you're extremely ignorant and heedless to the reality of a large sections of Muslims who paved the way for you to do what you're doing. You heard what I said? Either you totally don't care or you extremely ignorant and heedless of the very people who paved the way for you to do what you're doing. Now you pick which one. And any one you pick, you lose. Anyone you pick, you lose. You don't win this debate. No way. Because the end of the line just says, I don't care. And we live it all the time, so we see it. That's not everybody. I was talking to the karate teacher, and we were talking about the inner city. I said, all we got to do is give them access. There are plenty people like me and you, because he was talking about stuff he went through before and stuff I went through. I said, and look at us now. There are many people in the community that would be better than us if they were given access and resources. Now, our job is to take our access and our resources and give it to them and give them a fighting chance. That's me and your job, bro. Because we're examples of what we could be if those resources and access were provided. We just a few that overcame it. But there are many who are not going to overcome it, don't know how, and ain't nobody providing the opportunity for them. Now I done drift off, right? See how easy I get triggered, especially when this issue comes. Because I think we all should be triggered. We should be in the streets protesting. We should be in front of masjids with signs. If you really want to, how I really would go about it, that's how I feel. I don't do it, but because I say, let's work on ourselves. But really, you want to have signs? You want to have protests? We should be in some of these big masjids with these big budgets and these big things, and they come in the community and benefit and raise up. We should be in front of them with signs, protesting. That's where we should be if you want to really protest about something. But don't get me started. I'm already started. In fact, I'm too triggered, I can't even continue. And I want to say this because I know I got some listeners that are not African American, many of them who study with me, who benefit from me, right? You know me for years. We need the same love we give. We're not even asking for more. The same love we give, it should be reciprocated. And even if you work and you support and you help, when you see these realities and you live them, you cannot deny it. You live it. You have to do more. Because you live it, you responsible. You see it. You know what's happening. You have to do more. You there. If I'm with friends and family and they're unjust, and I know they're unjust, I'm going to tell them, you unjust, you can't do that. That's wrong. Nah, you shouldn't do that. We have an obligation. A non-Muslim told me yesterday, you extremely blessed, and hence you are responsible for those blessings. A non-Muslim said that to me. He said, you are extremely blessed and you are responsible for all of those blessings. In other words, he was telling me about community engagement, working in the community and helping the people who are struggling and the less fortunate. He said, you're responsible. It was a non-Muslim who was talking. You're responsible. Allah gave you so much, you're responsible. So if Allah gave you abundance, you're responsible. It's not just for you. You're responsible. And all of us are responsible to do a job. Now, the same energy we put in Starbucks, could you put that energy in the Black community? Since you're not giving the money to Starbucks, can you give it to the Black community? How about that? So that money you withdrawn, why don't we channel some of that to the Black communities all around the country? And then do that permanently. Don't do it until they make an agreement with the West and then everything's going, then you go back. No, permanently. All that money that you were giving to Starbucks, to Apple, to all those other companies, give it to the Black Muslim community. All Muslims, give it to the Black Muslim community. Let's see how far that goes. How about that campaign? Let me ask you, do you think it's going to happen? Do you think just think of everyone outside, just the Muslims, if they took that money from those companies that they give and they gave it to the Black Muslim community in America, what would that look like? I estimate that's millions of dollars. Millions that would instantly flood into the African American Muslim communities. And I'm not, and I'm saying, pick them. I don't care which one you pick. Pick them because they're all in the same condition. What would that look like? Think about that. Instantly, overnight, the conditions of the Black and Muslim American community would change. Overnight. But guess what? That ain't happening. Don't hold your breath. But some may do it. So you can start by getting rid of your iPhone and your Mac and your all that other stuff and take those thousands of dollars and give it to the Black community, the Black Muslim community, who's actually working in what we're talking about. Let's see how far that goes. And make a note. I've left Apple and joined you. Make a note. When you send the money, I've left Apple and joined your struggle. May Allah make it easy. All right. I deviated. I apologize. And I got to take this phone call. It's one of our great. Assalamu alaikum, Imam. I'm getting ready. Give me 1 second. I'm on live. Can you say salam to the people just so they can hear you?
Sure. What are you on?
Just give. I'm on my, the platform. I'm getting ready to close out. Just give everybody salam, inshallah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. To our brothers and sisters in Islam. This is your brother, Imam Talib Abdul Rashid from MIB over in the village of Harlem. I want to thank all of you who've been making dua for me. I'm sure the word is out. I've been ill the past couple of months, and I'm still in the medical facility rehab now. But I am healing slowly and a day at a time, and never underestimate the power of dua.
Allah.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum, Imam.
Hold on 1 second. No, I'm going to cut off right now. Let's recite al-Fatiha for our beloved Imam Talib. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him complete shifa and allow us to follow his excellent example he's left for us. And inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, we will constantly, daily keep him in our dua. Bisir asrar al-Fatiha. All right, inshallah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'll see y'all tomorrow, inshallah. Hold on, Imam Talib.